Okay, so welcome, Deborah. Thank you for being a part of our pet show today.
Oh, thank you.
And
Mickey? You prefer Mickey?
Mickey or Mika?
Mika, okay.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Thank you. So yeah, tell us a little bit about Cat Paws and how it all began.
Okay. It's the full name is Helen Sanders Cat Protection and Welfare Society, DBA Cat Paws. And Helen Sanders was the inspiration for the rescue, and she was a cat advocate pioneer, really, that worked primarily like in the Seal Beach, Long Beach, Southern California area. There was a feral colony along the jetty, the rocks that jut out into the ocean in Seal Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And she did, even before it was really widely known as a thing to do, she did trap, neuter, return for those feral cats. She would, trap them, get them vaccinated, have their ear tipped and put them back, and then manage that colony. So when she died in 2005, one of her friends started just a very modest fund, putting it in our little beach town once a week newspaper to send in a few bucks to keep buying food for the cats who were still alive at the time of her passing, to keep them fed. Her feral colony at the beach. And I met up with that friend, and I knew Helen a little bit because I lived right near the beach, and she would go up and down my alley with her. To be honest, I thought she was homeless. She was a little bit of an older woman, and she had a three-wheeled trike, like a bike, like a bike, but with three wheels with a big basket on the back and a big bag of cat food. And I would see her like pedaling around our little beach town and think, oh, that's kind of sad. So one day she's, going down my alley, and I'm putting food out for this little stray cat that used to come around. And he said, oh, I see you're taking, she was kind of a gruff lady in a way. And she would say, I see you're taking care of truffles. I'm like, what? Who are you? She said, yeah, that's truffles. And it was a cat, one of the feral cats she had trapped and got spayed and then lived there near the beach, and used to come around. And I said, yeah, and then she comes around. I've been feeding her. So we would have our little alley conversations. So I met that friend after her passing, and we kind of talked, and I said, hey, let's form a 501c3. What the heck? I'll do the paperwork, do the filing, and we can maybe raise a little bit more money. It'll be tax deductible, and maybe do some other things. And then it turned out that there were actually some of those feral cats, before they'd been fixed, had kittens, and it turned out that some of the ladies who helped Helen Sanders had those kittens, and needed to get them adopted. And we hooked up with Petco and eventually a PetSmart adoption center, and it just kind of grew from there. So that was about just over 10 years ago, really, that we started in the spring of 2010 officially.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So your 10-year anniversary just came up then.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's a big mark.
Yeah.
That's a big milestone for sure. And it's so cool to hear the background story too, because I read a little bit about you guys. But I know that Helen has passed, but how wonderful that, she was just doing something on her own, and then she inspired some people, including yourself. And now you've created this wonderful organization, and just how things grow and emerge, and how much we could do together. As a team, everybody pitching in. So that's wonderful. And so what is the mission of Cat Paws?
Well, our mission statement is to provide resources and support to the community to help more cats live a full and cherished life. And what that means is we focus primarily now on, in terms of our direct rescue efforts, we focus now primarily on taking cats who are maybe at risk out of public shelters, because, as we all know, public shelters are often underfunded and stressed on staff and resources. And unfortunately, not every animal who goes in comes back out the front door. So we have focused on taking at-risk cats and kittens from public shelters for the most part. we have kind of gotten away from the TNR. There's so many more groups doing it now. It's still a critically important thing to do. So there's more groups doing that. But what we do also is since the inception, we have a spay neuter fund so that we cover the cost of a basic spay neuter for people who might not otherwise be able to afford it, for both cats that they find and also their own cats sometimes.
Meet Chumpers. She's an active 10-year-old gal, ironically named since she had to have most of her teeth pulled because of a painful mouth condition. Cat Paws was able to help her get the dental surgery she needed. She can be affectionate and playful and is so not a fan of other cats. She would do best with a cat-savvy person or a couple in a quiet adult home. Can you give Chumpers a chance to know a forever home again?
To tell me a little bit about yourself, and if you have pets, and how you got into the whole pet world and feeding stray cats outside your door.
Yeah, people say this is not original on my part. It's like the mafia. You get in, you can't get out, right? Cat rescue. So, it's like a 12-step recovery program, for recovering cat rescuers. But so I actually, I do have at the moment 3 cats. They're all rescues. One is a little black kitty, LBK. It's kind of like a little black dress. Everybody should have one, right? Little LBK, little black kitty. She's quirky and funny. And then one who was trapped, actually, at the very early days of our rescue. She was trapped by one of our volunteers at the time who did do trapping. And she had kittens she was 7 months old and already had kittens.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, cats can shockingly and depressingly get pregnant at 4 months old. But anyway, wow. So she had kittens, and she was trapped, and she was already pretty feral. The kittens were gorgeous. There was just the 2 of them. They got adopted immediately. But she was like a hissing, spitting thing, and she couldn't be returned to wherever. Can't remember the exact circumstance, but she couldn't be put back. She trapped and spayed, but couldn't be returned, right? So I was out of town for a while, and I said, just put her in. They didn't know what to do with her. I said, just put her in my house, put her in my back bedroom. Here's you have a key. Here's how to get in, or whatever. Just so I came back to town, and there's this hissing, spitting, lunging, growling thing in my back bedroom, right? So I didn't know what to do with her either. So 10 years later, I still have her. But she's come around quite a bit. And then another wonderful cat who's about 11 is the one that's struggling with a recurrence of a nasal tumor. So, but yeah, no, they're all great. And getting in, how I got into it, I first started fostering in probably 2004, I guess. Just fostering, thought, this will be something nice to do on the side. So I would get these little litters. I was working with a shelter at the time, and I would get a litter of kittens and take care of them, and then eventually, my skill set kind of developed and expanded, and I fostered for a number of shelters and rescues over the years. And then when I encountered this friend of Helen's toward the end of 2009, beginning of 2010, and then did the paperwork and somehow wound up co-founding a rescue. And then that was the end of life.
And here you are.
Yeah, and here I am.
Talking about it all.
So yeah, you just get in deeper and deeper, and then you realize you can't get out. So
yeah. Sounds like a beautiful story.
Yeah, it's enchanting. So
yeah. Wonderful.
A stunning, swirled, and striped beauty, Lily raised her own litter of kittens and is ready to go to your home to relax. She is affectionate and loves people. She has some separation anxiety and likes a lot of reassurance, so would do best with a quiet person or a couple who is retired or works from home.
Well, so what do you think, or what would you tell, our viewers listening or watching this interview, if they're considering getting a pet, if they have been thinking about it, what would you say are some of maybe the benefits of having a pet, and from your personal experience, from the experience of others? I know there's definitely a lot of benefits, right, that are kind of like vice versa, for us and for the pets. So
yes, well, there's been numerous studies done, and you can just do an internet search on them. Where they actually have studied lower people's blood pressure lowering in the presence of a companion animal, and the health benefits of just having that companionship, that sense of purpose, really. And I think especially in any, I've had cats really all my life, but I mean, I think especially as people grow older, sometimes, and especially right now under the circumstances, people's social networks shrink in some ways. They experience limitations, as we get older. I've experienced them, of mobility sometimes, or just not having the energy to do things and not having the expanded social network. And it's a sense of purpose. It gives you a reason to get up in the morning. It helps us feel responsible and accountable to another living being. And I think that's worthwhile, and that's valuable, and that improves both our spiritual, our mental, and our physical health, to have that purpose in our life. So that's what
I love how you
and obviously that. For the pet, for the animal, it literally can mean the difference between life and death to be adopted. And it gives, and I believe that cats and dogs, I don't know, there's a whole spirituality around it, but I think that cats and dogs feel like they have a job, and we are their job. I mean, not that they're serving us exactly, but they look at us and say, well, that's my person, and I have to take care of that person now. And I've really felt that, it was especially some of the cats I've had, that gives them, that they embrace that as their responsibility to care for us. And of course, reciprocally, ours to them, our commitment to them. So that's kind of my belief system about it, I guess.
Yes, you said exactly what I believe as well. I believe my cats come to me when I'm needing the love and the healing vibes, for sure. And I think that it's a mutual relationship. But thank you. I love how you put that. And for our viewers that maybe want to get involved with either Cat Paws or the rescue world, what advice would you have for them as far as maybe getting involved?
For us, where we operate geographically, anyone kind of in our area, we are always looking for fosters and volunteers. We have the organization has grown to just a wonderful base of fosters and volunteers, who, without whom the operation, the lives we save would not be saved. I mean, it would not exist. And the functions run the various opportunities to participate, run the gamut from fostering in the home to working more with the public in our adoption centers. We have one in Petco in Long Beach, one of the Long Beach Petcos, and also the Seal Beach PetSmart. So people who like to interact with the public more, might want to do that. They can help take care of the cats and help with adoptions and help with just, publicizing. There's all sorts of opportunities that people can, roles to fill in an organization. So, and if you're not in it, for us, just go on HelenSandersCatPaws.com, and there's a tab to how to help and volunteer. And we're always, like I said, always looking for great fosters and volunteers to add to our already incredible team. for people that are not in that specific area, maybe just ask their local shelter, and either volunteer directly for the shelter or any number of rescue groups that the shelter may partner with that are always asking for help. So
Yes.
it's the commitment with us. We try to make it very low threshold commitment. So people, if they have, 5 hours a month, that's fine. We don't really have a minimum volunteer commitment. So we try to make it a very low threshold of participation and appreciate whatever anyone can do. So it's volunteer. I don't ever forget that. It's volunteer.
It's volunteer, right?
So right now, if someone's interested in adopting, they would again go on our website, hit the adopt button at the top, and fill out the very short online form, talk to one of our knowledgeable and friendly, happy adoption counselor volunteers, and they do their best to listen to what the person is looking for and match them up with the appropriate cat, because that is, I think, critical to making a good match.
A fluffy, long-haired girl, Chardonnay was a young mom. Her early life was difficult, fending for herself and small kittens. She very much needs someone to help her feel safe and enjoy the full and cherished life that she deserves.
Let me back up for a second. One of my personal, and the rescue, I think, shares it, core beliefs is that no one organization, rescue, shelter, nonprofit of any kind, can do everything. And that it is critical to engage the community and empower the public to be part of a solution to a problem that is bigger than any one of us. So some of our programs are the spay neuter vouchers that we support out of our own funds. Another one that we have done for a number of years is we put together these kitten care kits, which include like a bottle and formula and kitten care guidance and a couple other items. And we provide them to public shelters so that the public shelters, because people, again, things are different now with the virus, but people used to walk into public shelters with a cardboard box full of kittens, kittens, right? And, sadly, if they were underage and they weren't yet eating on their own, it usually did not end well at all for those kittens. Because the shelter couldn't feed them every 2, 3, 4 hours, whatever was required. And usually it just didn't end well. So what we did in response to that a few years ago was create these kits to give the shelter an option to say to the people, well, can you take, if we provide the materials, the formula and et cetera, and can you take care of those kittens? And some people can't, but some people would, and given the resources and support. So that's our DIY kitten care program. So we provide several shelters with those kits. Another program that we're looking at, and I hope to develop, is doing in conjunction with perhaps another organization and shelter, would be to do like a community support day, community pet support day, where we have a mobile spay neuter clinic or van, and cats and dogs perhaps, depending on who all's involved. Would get the spayed neutered, vaccination, microchip, maybe have some donations of food, to just a day to support the community in that way, and maybe start getting something like that going.
Okay, fantastic. And would you say, I heard that kitten season is not just in the spring, that it goes all the way to the fall. Is that true? Are cats still having kittens?
Sadly, it's almost year round. I mean, it's
oh gosh,
it's there because of the more temperate climate in Southern California. I mean, and there's a reason they call it, the phrase catting around, right? I mean, sadly, I mean, cats are incredibly prolific, and they, like I said before, they can go into heat and get pregnant as young as 4 months old, which is just frightening. Incredible. I mean, just frightening. That's a 16-week-old kitten. And one of my own cats, it's about a 2-month gestation. She had kittens at 7 months, so she would have gotten pregnant at 5 months. So,
Wow.
and I've taken care of cats who were nursing and went into heat while they were still nursing.
Oh goodness.
It's the first time it happened to me. It's like, are you kidding me? But so unfortunately, we have to intervene as best we can, because unfortunately that just ends in, we all love kittens, but at that level, and litter after litter, it's unhealthy and exhausting for the cat. The kittens are often born, malnourished, sick, inbred, deformities. I mean, it's unfortunately not a good thing. And that vicious, tragic cycle has to be arrested.
Yeah.
And the way that we all can do that is through spay neuter.
Right. But any last thoughts or anything that I didn't ask that you wanted to share?
I guess just the takeaway is how grateful I am for the community support for our fosters, our volunteers, our adopters, without whom none of it could work. All the shelter partners we work with are supporters in every way, and that we can all do something. We can all do something. We can all do something, whether it's a few bucks, whether it's a few hours, whether it's just sharing and networking a post on Facebook.
Yes.
We can all do something. We can all be that someone who does something. So thank you for that opportunity.
I agree. Of course. Thank you for being available. I appreciate you and Cat Paws.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.